You don't have to be afraid because we serve a God of angel armies. I love this reminder in the book of 2 Kings as the prophet Elisha has really ticked off a king who every plan he has keeps getting messed up. And he's like, who's the spy? Who is going to report to the kings of Israel? And they're like, no, it's Elisha. Somehow where he is, it's like he's in your bedroom listening to your private thoughts. And so he sends this army to go take out Elisha. And Elisha's servant sees that they are completely surrounded, the whole city, by this army, this massive, huge Sumerian army. And he's like, what are we going to do? And Elisha says, you don't have to be worried because the ones who are with us, they are more than the ones who are with them, right? Them, like a well-trained army, and they are completely surrounded. So this is a real problem. There are real dangers. This is an impossible situation, but God and his army is so much greater, so much bigger than any perceived threat of any real enemy that we really might be facing. And Elisha understood that, right? He wasn't afraid of human armies because he knew that God is bigger, that his angels were surrounding this army. And he understood that this was the same God who parted the sea, who leveled city walls for Israel, who fought for Israel, who was the God who gave them manna, who gave them springs that came out of a rock. This was the same God who slayed giants. And Elisha had this peace in who God was, but also this trust in what God had called him to do in life. And he knew that wasn't finished yet, right? Just like Jesus, how we learned a few days ago, right? He had this trust in God because he knew what his end game was. He knew. And so when something else came that was not that, he had a confident assurance in God to protect him, to deliver him. And we don't know what our end is, right? But we know God and we trust his heart. And so whatever this real issue is that's ahead of you, just remember what God you serve, how capable he is of fighting this very real enemy, and trust that you can pray and you can come to him and say, God, you see this, right? I can't do this. I don't have this, but I know that you have this, that you are the God of angel armies, and I'm just going to be still and trust that you have this in hand. Now, if you tell me to do something, I'm going to go do that, but until then, I'm just going to sit here with you and wait until you say move. That's the kind of faith that Elisha walked in. That's the kind of faith that I want, to not be afraid of the real challenges around because I know who God is. I can be still and know God.